Okay, so now we're going to talk about using the formation to clear after we've broken out off the save. Where should the ball go? What are some of our vocabulary? And understanding the offsides responsibility. Okay, so the first thing that we need to do, you saw in our last diagram that we were going to take two defensemen off the field and replace them with two short sticks. So before we even bring these guys onto the field, we want to drop the attack guys low to GLE to create that space. Okay, now the first defenseman that comes off the field is going to be replaced by a midi that is going to go deep to the top of the other team's box. He's not going to go too far into the field. Okay, he wants to stay nice and deep. Okay, the second midfielder that comes on, he's coming on onsides right to the sideline just below the midfield line. Goalies, generally if we have our chance, we like to first move the ball opposite the box. So here's our goalie with the ball. We want to move the ball to this side so that we have time to get those defensemen off the field and let some of the substitutions occur while we're kind of taking our time getting up the field. Defensemen, really, really important that we carry the ball up the field, all right? So now we're not going to just listen to, not just throw the ball right away. Carry it up, shorten this pass. Goalies, you at this point in time need to start to drift, not only to the same level as the defenseman, but towards the ball side. Okay, so this D guy has the ball now, all right? The defenseman opposite is also going to come up and stay even, if not below the ball a little bit. Really important defenseman also, that we don't come above the top of the box, okay? In case this guy needs to throw the ball over to you, you don't want the distance between you and the attackman riding to be so short that you're going to get jumped on the over. So we tell you, no matter what, if you're opposite the ball, do not come above the top of the box. Really, really important. As the ball starts to come up this side, okay, our deep midfielder, he's going to stretch down further into the offensive end and a little bit towards the middle of the field, okay? Generally, his job is really just to drag the deepest defender with him and clear space, okay? This short stick is going to go up the sideline, okay? We talked about keeping our heels to the sideline with the FLG clear. We don't really want to break over the shoulder, okay? We want to be catching it so that we can catch it and look upfield and see what's coming from behind us, okay? And give ourselves tons of space. Really want to spread out the riding team as much as we can here. So we don't want to drift to the middle of the field as we begin to stretch. Okay, goalies, this is where you need to become the quarterback of the clear. We use three terms to let the defenseman know where to go with the ball. The first one is right up. If you hear a right up called defenseman, you should be looking down the sideline. You can look at the deepest guy first, and then you're going to look at that mid-level player. Goalie's telling you that because there's somebody open on your side. Really, one of the keys to clearing with the open clear is we're going to be trying to identify which one of these four short sticks is being covered by an attackman, and it's generally going to be one of these two mid-level guys. The second call is a redirect, okay? On a redirect, we want the ball to go back to the goalie. Goalies, we don't want the ball to die in the middle of the field preferably, okay? So we're going to try and move the ball as quickly as we can. And of course, the third call, if the goalie is shut or if we feel like we need to get the ball across the field quickly, is our over call. That's going to be where the defenseman throws the cross-field pass, okay? So when we talk about carrying the ball up and this guy is stretching down into the offensive end and this guy stretching over the midfield line, we talk about that as being stretching the field, okay? So if you hear us yelling stretch, that means that you need to go further into the offensive end in your role of the clear. So now we're going to talk about what happens when these guys are covered, which usually they are, especially in Summer League when the other team's trying to shut the easy out. Okay, so whether we call a redirect or we call an overpass, okay, the first thing that needs to happen is that this midi that's stretched over the midfield line, you need to bust your butt and get right back on sides, okay? Because now what we're going to look to do is stretch the other side of the field, okay? This midfielder who's waiting at the midfield line, you have to make sure that you're paying attention to what this guy does. You cannot go over until he's back on sides, okay? Once he's back on sides, again, our midi here is going to drift towards the middle a little bit and a little deeper, and this midi is going to stretch down the sideline. Usually we're going to get out on the box side because, as I said, most Summer League teams especially are going to ride with two short sticks trying to lock off on the opposite side, and they'll have some sort of attackman riding in this area, okay? Now, on the other side, this guy who's stretched deep, you are going to start to come back towards the midfield line just a little bit, just in case it turns out that the attackman goes with him, and this defenseman needs to run the ball out, okay? If that defenseman needs to run the ball out, as you see him starting to take off towards the midfield line, you're going to sprint back all the way on sides, okay? That'll allow 1, 2, and 3 to go over, and we will have 1, 2, 3, and 4 back, okay? We talk a little bit about clearing versus a timer if you're a high school coach or if you're playing college rules in the summer, okay? A general rule that's good to give to your defenseman is that if it's the second over, you need to start thinking about running the ball out, okay? Generally, it's, as the time that you outlet the ball opposite the box, you stretch the field on that side, and now you've thrown the over, you've stretched that side. If you have to throw that second overpass, it's probably time to start thinking about running the ball out and beating your attackman upfield, okay? So that's going to be how we just use the clear to be able to, use the formation of the clear to be able to clear the ball every time.